There's a certain sting to our gospel today, as we once again find the words of Jesus, "For where two or three are gathered in my name, I am among them." As I record this sermon, I am sitting alone in my spare bedroom that I converted to a production studio shortly after the shutdown around March 13th. I will record these words and then post them online, where they'll be available for others to listen to during this time in our country and in our world when gatherings are so dissuaded. Thankfully, however, because of the tools of the internet, we can gather, at least virtually. We can see faces, catch up, pray together, and have a time of connection and worship during this pandemic journey. As nice as that is, it does not replace gathering together. Last week I flew to San Diego for a few days, needing a time away to rejuvenate, a change of scenery, and to connect with my old friend Colin. Now, Southern California is breathtaking, to say the least, and we spent some time on the Pacific Coast Highway, winding up and down the coast. But the most powerful moment of my trip happened in the San Diego airport. See, I travel light, carrying only one bag. So when the plane landed, I pulled my bag out from the overhead, and as I made my way through the airport and out the backside of security, there was my friend Colin. The two of us first met in the fall of 2000. We were on the same hall of Sailor Ackerman dorm at Capital University. Our freshman year, we were polite to one another socially, but that was about it. Our paths rarely crossed sophomore year, and then, by a twist of fate, he ended up being the RA on my hall through my junior and senior year. But after college, we both were still in town, and our paths began to cross a lot more. We would run into one another Friday nights, at concerts downtown, or get together to explore the city. When I was accepted to seminary at LSTC, Colin was the friend who took me out to celebrate. And in fact, just 2 years ago, the two of us met in Death Valley to compete in a race out there. And so here I come, through the San Diego airport, outside of security, and there, standing on the other side, is my buddy Colin, and we hug one another. Friends, gathered in the presence of one another, hugging. It brought a tear to my eye, because I can't tell you the last time I actually hugged somebody. There, standing in that place, in that airport, and yet also standing on top of 20 years of memories. We, the two of us, gathered in the face of this isolating world. We all know this feeling well as people and as the congregation of Faith Lutheran Church. We experience similar feelings every Sunday as we gather in the Elm Street lawn, socially distant, to share our time and our lives in a picnic. We come together to share our time and our lives the way that this congregation has for so long. When we cannot gather with those that we love, for whatever the reason, it is heartbreaking. The pain of distance is now magnified by the uncertainty of this never-ending timeline. When can we gather? When can we touch? When can we hug again safely? There are people, family and friends, that I would give the world to see, to hold, to gather with once more. But sadly, that is not the world or the reality that we live in. And that truth makes the world at hand scary, sad, and uncertain. And so what are we to do with Jesus' words? For where 2 or 3 are gathered in my name, I am among them. This verse is at the tail end of today's gospel reading. The front end of the passage shows us how to handle accusations and disruptions within the church. It's our favorite conflict management text, so to speak. And conflict is another arena we do not typically enjoy as the church. However, reading through these verses 15 through 20, what Matthew is showing us is that as we work through conflict, when we might feel upset, abandoned, or betrayed, Jesus is working and walking with us every step of the way. Because as Matthew understands it, accountability happens in community. Restoration happens in community. Said another way, church happens in community. This is true because our understanding of church comes from our understanding of Jesus Christ. And what did Christ do? Christ called together the disciples. Jesus welcomed the children to him. He ate with all that gathered around him. Jesus' life and ministry were focused around gathering communities together and building up those communities as the kingdom of God here on earth. It's also no happenstance that today's gospel reading comes in the middle of 2 of Jesus' lost sheep parables. That is, here are more reminders that when we are lost, isolated, scared, or lonely, that Jesus Christ will come looking for us to pull us back into our communities of faith, to connect us with those who have known us for so long, who know our stories. They are to underline that Christ is among us as we are loved and supported by one another through whatever means we can connect. Yes, when 2 or more are gathered, Christ is in our midst. But also when we feel alone and lost, Christ is searching us out to bring us home, to connect us with the memories of our lives and our loved ones, to remind us of God's faithfulness in our life together with him. Friends, very much like many of you, I long for the day when gathered together, we can share the peace of Christ that passes all understanding with a handshake or a hug in the presence of one another. This community that knows and celebrates and is thankful for the story and ministry it has built together. But until that day arrives, I pray that we all find the solace in today's gospel truth, that Christ walks with us every step of the way as we get from here to there, by the grace of God Almighty. Amen.